Hello, and welcome to my documentary on my experience with learning a new skill, which is sailing. This is the boat that I'll be learning to sail on. It is a West Wright Day Sailor 15-foot boat. And this is my dad, who will be teaching me how to sail.
Let's meet him.
This is my dad, Eric. So, how many years have you been sailing for?
Let's see, probably about 30. I think the first time I went sailing was when I was in college in Colorado. There was a place called the Boulder Reservoir, and they had little boats you could take out for like $10 an hour or something like that. And so in the summertime we'd have a bunch of friends go out there and take out a boat and just kind of mess around with it.
Cool, so that kind of leads into question two. Obviously you said you learned in Colorado, but when and who taught you when your first time sailing?
I think when I first started sailing, I probably whoever rented me the boat put the sail up and said, do this, do that, with like 1 or 2 minutes of instruction. But I don't think I really learned how to sail, like what was actually happening, until I came out here to Washington, and we were in the University of Washington Sailing Club, and they had older people in the club that were mentors for the younger people, and you actually had to get signed off by the older, more experienced people in order to take the boats out by yourself.
And was this while you were at college in the University of Washington?
No, Wendy, your mom was a student there, and that allowed us to join the club. And so I just joined as through her membership, because I wasn't a student at the time.
I see.
And in fact, there were some people in the club that probably hadn't been associated with the university for like 20 or 30 years.
They just kind of let it slide.
They just, once in the very, very distant past, they had an affiliation, and so, and they hung around there. There were some old timers there, so there were some of the people that were helpful in teaching us.
After learning about my dad's background and experience with sailing, it was time to learn the ropes myself, literally. We started off by moving the boat from my garage to the driveway so that my dad could teach me everything without having to worry about other factors like waves or the wind. Prior to this, I did some research on sailing so that my dad wouldn't have to teach me everything from scratch. This included terminology, progression of steps, and required knots. However, every sailboat is different, so he still had to explain how the skills and steps I had read about worked in relation to our boat. After he was satisfied with my ability and knowledge of controls and steps, we went out on the water.
Yeah, but that's too much right there, yeah.
First thing to do, now that we were out here, was to drop the centerboard, which we couldn't do before because we weren't on the water. What the centerboard does is it helps to stabilize the boat.
This is the centerboard here, and it's got some pulleys because it weighs about 80 pounds, and it's going to want to drop, so we're going to lower it slowly and feed it through here, and then tie it off, and then it's going to stick down below the boat and keep the boat, put weight down under so the boat won't flip over. Okay, so now cleat that off.
Now, like I had practiced, we had finally gotten the whole sail set up and everything rigged, and it was time to test my luck on the seas. It was very calm on this particular day, which made it nice for learning, but also nearly impossible to catch the wind and pick up speed.
Alright, I'll give you some instructions. So, practice pulling in the main sheet on the big sail.
Got it.
Okay, so if the wind were coming and pushing hard, you'd want to let that out, because if it stayed tight, the boat could flip over. So that's how you let the pressure off.
Yeah.
And then you can try pulling in one of the jib sheets on either side to pull it tight, and then the other side needs to be loose. See how it comes up?
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
And then is the other side loose?
Yeah.
Alright. Now try switching it to the other side. Loosen that one. And that pulls it around to the other side.
It was very rewarding to be able to pick up a new skill which I know I will use again lots of times in the future, and having my dad teach me was special and reminded me of all the other things he has taught me in my life. I can now confidently say that I am well on my way to becoming a proficient sailor.